Harshaw from Level 10 Contractor. Thanks everybody for being with me today. It is November 2025, which means that it's getting to be that time of year when things are starting to wind down just a little bit. People are starting to look forward to the holidays. I think probably 2 weeks from tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so it's coming right up, and that obviously means that there's going to be some slowdown in business. Christmas obviously comes right on the heels of that. So what we want to talk about today is some things that we can do in the wintertime, not just during the holidays, November and December, but also as we get into January and February. This is going to be a bigger problem for some of you than others, particularly those of you who are in northern climates and or are doing exterior remodeling. So for instance, if you're doing roofing in Boston, that's going to be a bigger problem than if you're doing bathrooms in Florida. But we'll cover some stuff that I think will be useful for everybody, no matter where you fit into that particular thing. So with that being said, let me tell you who our sponsors are for today's webinar. I want to thank these folks for participating. They have been able to drive attendance into today's webinar. If it weren't for these folks, there would be no webinar. So if one of these folks invited you to the webinar, you may want to just shoot them a quick note via email saying, hey, thanks for making this kind of stuff available. I will be talking to you about some of these companies as we go through the presentation today. So you'll be hearing about each of these 5 as we go through later today. We've got Paradigm, Vendo, Demand IQ, G4 Marketing, Leap, and Engage. Let me tell you who I am. That's a photo of me. It's a little bit old. I look way older than that now, but I do have my nice winter gear on there. My name is Rich Harshaw. I'm the founder and CEO of Level 10 Contractor, also author of a book called Unlocking Unlimited Lead Flow. Started this business in 1994. It's a 31-year-old business as of earlier this week. We started on November 9th, 1994. I was doing all kinds of marketing consulting. One of my first clients early on was a large roofing company called Lawn Smith Roofing in Fort Worth, Texas. But I also had a lot of clients that were outside of remodeling. I had some manufacturers, some financial companies, a lot of different things. But I did get involved specifically with remodeling and home services in 2005. So it took me about 11 years before I really focused specifically on that. And in the last 20 years, this is all we do at Level 10 Contractor. Worked with a lot of the biggest and most successful companies in the industry. Some names that you might be familiar with: Horizon Services. I worked with them, helped them grow from $44 million to $150 million from 2011 to 2017 before they sold out to private equity, and I got fired. That was fun. Still work with Service Champions, a very large company. They are also private equity controlled out of the West Coast. Been working with them for about 10.5 years now. They've got 22 different brands. They're a major client of Level 10 Contractors. Have worked in the past with 1-800-Hansons. Work currently with Renewal by Andersons with both their corporate and some of their local offices. But those are just some of the larger companies. The vast majority of our companies that we do business with are going to be smaller. They're going to be in the $5 to $20 million range. We are what we consider to be an elite level marketing agency. What that means is that we do elite level work, which is a fancy way of saying that we're high touch. We're not the cheapest company to do a lot of these things that we're talking about, but we do believe that we're the best. We specialize in working with companies that are in the $5 to $20 million range, and we build websites. We provide SEO services. We also do digital advertising services. That's going to be things like paid Facebook advertising, Google pay-per-click advertising. Also do a lot of TV and radio and streaming advertising. I think we're up to about $15 million a year in TV, radio, and OTT under budget right now with all of our clients combined. Also do quite a bit of organic social media. This is a newer area for us, but it's something that I'm leaning very heavily into, and I'll talk about it briefly as we get into the 6th out of 6 sections of this webinar today. So that's just an overview of who Level 10 Contractor is so that you know who you're listening to as I go through this. I do have a podcast called the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. There's over 2,200 episodes. You can find it on Apple or Spotify or wherever you like. We are transitioning the podcast over to video, so you can also go to YouTube, look up Level 10 Contractor, and a lot of the episodes that are on the audio podcast are now also available as a video podcast, but that would mean that you have to look at me for anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes as I go through the video, And who knows if you want to do that. All right, here's the goal of today's webinar. Make hay while the sun's not shining. That's what we're trying to do. Do something with these winter months. Now, before we get into the heart of this, I do want to go through 3 of our 5 sponsors. I'll go through the other 2 as we get a little bit later in this. And I'm going to just make it available to you. If you'll play along with me here, I'd appreciate it. These companies put a lot of time and effort into getting folks here. So I'm going to just give them each a quick about 30 to 60 second overview. But I'm also going to do the following. I'm going to launch a poll right now. And I'm going to try to launch a poll right now. And it's going to ask you if you'd like to learn anything about these 3 companies. Now, I'll have a chance for you to learn about the other 2 companies later. But let me tell you about Paradigm Vendo. It's a digital selling and estimating platform for home improvement contractors specifically, companies that want to turn every in-home visit into a clear path to signing the deal, from appointment scheduling, product configuration, quoting, financing, e-signing contracts. Paradigm Vendo removes the paper mess and keeps deals moving faster. It's used by top manufacturers in a lot of the major dealer networks. So their pricing is already built into this. It makes it super, super easy. Okay, it's pre-configured with catalogs, with windows, door, siding, roofing, all that kind of stuff, built-in payment and financing options, integrations with tools like Salesforce, and other things that you may be using. So what you get is a consistent sales process, fewer quoting errors, engaged buying experience for the homeowners. This is what people expect now. So take a look at this. Go to paradigmvendo.com. You can learn more about that. Next, I want to tell you about Engage. If you've got a great product, a solid team, a killer reputation, but what about your presentation? Is it still trapped in PowerPoint purgatory? Engage is going to help you change that. It's presentation software that is built for persuasion. It turns your pitch deck into a full-blown interactive experience with video, animation, testimonials, clickable comparisons, all of this stuff that tells your stories, more like a Netflix special instead of an old school, flip chart. And here's the kicker. Every single interaction is tracked, so you can see which slides your reps are using, how long prospects engage for, where people drop off, and it helps you close more deals. So it's not just cool, it's going to give you data that you can weaponize. So make sure that your team isn't just presenting, that they're actually learning, iterating, and improving every time. So the bottom line, get a smarter way to do your presentations. Go to Engage with an I. I think it's .com, it might be .io. Just Google it, you'll find it. And then finally, G4 Marketing. Thanks for paying attention to these little ad reads that I'm doing. It's important for these folks. Like I said, there's no webinar without these sponsors. Most contractors are obsessed with getting new leads. They'll drop 20, 30, 50 grand a month chasing strangers, but they'll completely ignore the people they already have who love them. That's where G4 Marketing comes in and flips the script. They've built an automated system that turns past customers into future revenue. Here's how it works. After every job, they're going to send a personalized thank you card and a small gift. It's really cool. It's these little cookies that come in a jar that are branded with your stuff on it. It looks really cool. And then a few weeks later, they're going to send a second touch, which is handwritten notes. They're going to ask for referrals. They're going to ask for review. All of this is automatic and it's done. I know this is the kind of stuff that you might think, oh, well, we'll just do that ourselves, but you never get around to it. You don't optimize it. Let G4 handle this. They've also got customer rehash mailers that go out months or years later. Some of the companies that I know that have the highest percentage of repeat and referral business at scale are using G4 Marketing. They're going to get a steady stream of referrals, repeat jobs, and 5-star reviews. Going to keep your pipeline full. So go check them out, G4 Marketing. I think it's g4marketing.com. Just Google that and you'll find it. Thank you for paying attention to that. Now, let's make sure that we got the presentation back on track here. There we go. All right, here's what we're going to cover today. 6 things. 6 ways to win during winter. The first one is storytelling and what I call mega irresistible offers. Had some tremendous success with this. I want to share it with you and give you hopefully a spark of inspiration that you can run and do something similar to this yourself. Also, I want to talk about pre-selling spring jobs. So getting people on the books now for jobs that you're not going to actually do until later. Again, this is going to be a little bit more useful for those of you that are doing exterior remodeling, particularly in colder climates. Number 3 is going to be reaching out to your customers. I'll give you a very specific thing that I learned about, I learned this about 15, maybe more than that years ago from a company called K Designers out in Sacramento. And I've used it with great success with many of my clients since then. Fourth thing we're going to talk about is creating a giftable product so that your thing that you sell can actually be a Christmas gift for the right prospect. Fifth thing we're going to talk about is baking while others freeze. So doing some things to stoke your marketing engine during the period of time when others are cutting back. I'm going to show you some ways that you can step on the gas. And then finally, getting in shape for 2026. This is really a good time to sharpen the saw. We've got about a 4-month period here where things are cold, where things are not happening quite as much for many of you, not all of you, but for many of you. And this is a good opportunity to really get in shape. There's some things that I want you to think about right now that if you put some effort, time, and energy into them between now and let's say March or spring, it's going to make you that much further ahead when you get to kind of your peak season. So with all of that being said, let's go into strategy number 1, which is acknowledging and telling a story. What I'm talking about is this: going out to the marketplace and letting people know, hey, it's slow, and because it's slow, we're willing to give people a discount in order to keep our crews busy. Now, to make this work, in my experience, you've got to be as detailed as possible, and you've got to make a compelling story. I'm going to show you an example of this in just a minute, so hang on, we'll go into the details of it. I want you to tell it in first person. That means it's coming from the owner, perhaps the sales manager, but whoever the face of your company is will be telling this story. And it's going to make you look a little bit vulnerable. A lot of times people look at this and they're like, I don't know if I want to be putting that much information out there. But the more information that you put out there, the more details make the story more believable, and it gives you more credibility, and it makes the promotion and the offer actually work better. And then I'm also going to ask you to give specific examples of savings, and then we're going to combine this with mega irresistible offers. So there's really 2 things happening here. There's a vulnerable story about being slow, and then there's a mega irresistible offer. So I'm going to show you how this looks. Whoops. This is the first time I ran this. It's been several years. Now, I've run lots of variations of this since, but this is one that I ran for Coastal Empire Exteriors. And this is a newspaper insert, okay? And you might say to yourself, well, we don't do newspapers. That's okay. You don't have to do newspapers. You can do this via direct mail. You can do this via television. You can do this via radio. You can do this via social media, Facebook, any kind of platform you want. Here's what the general idea is. Why November might be the best time to add a sunroom. Our November and December sales volume is usually 70% less than the rest of the year. So here's what happens. I've made a promise. It's not a specific promise, but I've made a promise to the reader that if you have any kind of inkling that you might want to buy a sunroom. Now, everybody else who doesn't want to buy a sunroom or windows or siding or roofing or whatever the product is, they're not going to pay attention no matter what we're talking about. So I'm just reaching out to that specific group, and I'm letting them know that there's a problem that we have that's going to allow me to make an offer that's going to be beneficial to you. Now, I want you to read the subheadlines here and get an idea for how this works. And like I said earlier, this is being recorded. You can take this later, watch it on YouTube, and you can, pick and choose through this as much as you want. Here's what the subheadline says. This year, as a part of a daring test, I'm willing to give you a bona fide 20% off so we can keep our crews busy. And then there's text. And I want you to, again, think about this. You could make this into a video. You could put this on YouTube. You could put this on Facebook. You could put this anywhere you want. Let's face it, when the holiday months roll around, most people are not thinking about sunrooms. That means that during November, December, our sales teams are usually sitting around twiddling their thumbs. Then in January and February, installation crews come to a standstill. As you can imagine, our workers don't like to sit around and do nothing, and we don't like to pay them to do nothing. All things considered, we're bound and determined to sell sunrooms this holiday season. Now, that's a pretty straightforward approach. Hey, we're trying to sell sunrooms. I know that makes some people uncomfortable to admit something like that, but it's just being real. I told my management staff, to heck with profit, let's just keep everyone busy. Translation, win-win. And then this is where we get into the details and we expose some information that maybe you're uncomfortable with, but I think is going to be worthwhile. In a normal month, we sell about 12 to 18 sunrooms, an average of about 15. Last year, November, we sold 5, and in December, just 4. I think you can see the problem. I met with my management staff to discuss solutions. I explained to them it's actually better for us to lose money on each job sold than it is to have idle workers who we continue to pay, or worse, that seek employment because we can't pay them during downtime. That's where you come in. I'll give you a full 20% off the bottom line price if you will place your order between November 1 and December 31st. Now we're sitting on November 12th. So if you want to do this, you probably need to get hopping and get after it pretty quick. This offer is strictly limited to 15 jobs each month, no exceptions. To be honest, we have no idea if this will work or not. We may be overwhelmed with business. We may hear the proverbial crickets chirping in our showroom, but just to be safe, we're only going to accept 15 customers per month at these special incentive prices. I'm sure you can understand that we don't want to be giving away the farm to everyone who thought about adding a sunroom. As long as we can keep our crews busy, that's good enough for me. That's why no more than 30 total jobs will be sold at this discount. And then we go into the mega irresistible offer. If you book before November 19th, I'll give you four free bonuses worth $3,589. And we'll talk about those in just a minute. Now, on the right-hand side here is we've got different kinds of sunrooms, and we show what the January to October price is, what the November to December price is, and then what the savings are, and then what the payment is. So we're giving people an idea of what this is. Now, I'm going to make a suggestion to you on this. I'm going to suggest that you actually give people a good deal. Not like a bullcrap good deal, but a good deal. Look, we all know how this works. You've got a way that you can arrange your pricing, that you can create offers that work within your financial structure. And obviously that's a good thing. What I'm asking you to do here is maybe dig a little bit deeper, maybe take a little bit of a haircut on your pricing and your margins so that this becomes an actually true statement that you're giving this better deal. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to the next slide, which is going to show the inside 2 pages of this. And we've got 7 reasons to add a sunroom. So we've got some social proof, we've got some reasons, seven misconceptions, listen to what our customers have to say. I don't want to spend a lot of time going through this. This is just some social proof and some additional information. It's not really focused on the offer, but again, this is a 4-page newspaper insert, so we've got a lot of room, so we're going to fill it with things that are useful, some photos, etc. A lot of times people might look at this and say, well, that's a lot of writing, but I'm never afraid of a lot of writing as long as the writing is saying something that is worthwhile, that is advancing my objective of helping people understand who we are, how we're different, why we're better, what they can expect when they do business with us, why they would want a sunroom, overcoming their objections, giving them social proof, all of those kinds of things. And then on the bottom, we've got the mega irresistible offer. Buy now and you'll also receive 4 free bonuses. And then we do something very interesting over here on the left. It says choose 2 of the 3 bonuses below, and then we give them an option of $500 of free flooring, $500 of window washing. Again, remember, this is sunrooms, or free furniture. And this is all stuff that we're going to give them gift cards or gift certificates for these specific vendors. Okay, so we've got a, what would you call it? We've got a relationship with each of these companies that we're going to give these bonuses away. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see that we're also going to give you 2 more valuable gifts, a free vacation voucher for 3-day, 2-night trip. You might want to expand that into something like a destination motivation certificate if anybody's using that. And then they've also got a free heat cool unit, which is a $2,000 value. So we've got 4 free bonuses, but I do want you to notice something very specific and interesting here. We've got this issue where we're having them choose 2 out of 3, and this is very deliberate. If they're choosing 2 out of 3, then what that means is there's one that they're not going to get, and it gets them more involved in the deliberation and thinking process. So instead of them thinking, do I want to do this in the first place, I get them focused and concentrated on which of these bonuses would I rather have, and they're having to make a decision. So this is a promotion that I like a lot. Like I said, this is something that you can go back and watch this video when it comes up on YouTube later today, and you can look at the details of this and you can go through it, and then you can adapt it in any way you want. By the way, I'll make you an offer. If you want to send me an email, rich@level10contractor, just send me an email, rich@level10contractor.com, and say, hey, I saw this and I'm wondering about how to integrate this into what I'm doing. I'm not sure exactly how this would work in this situation. Shoot me an email. I'd be happy to answer and go over it with you. Now, I'm going to show you what this looks like in a TV commercial. The problem with a TV commercial, of course, is that you've only got 30 seconds, whereas on the previous 4-page newspaper insert, we had a lot more real estate to deal with. But I'm going to show you what this looks like with my client, Jericho. So I'm going to tee this up. Hopefully this plays. Here we go.
Did you know November, December are the best months to plan your remodel? Business is slow due to the holidays. Let's face it, most people just aren't thinking about remodeling. But we do need to keep our employees busy. That's why we're offering
That's me
training to anyone who books with us this month. and a $1,000 home goods gift card to the first 15 people who call. We could do the install after the holidays, but to get free granite and a $1,000 home goods gift card, you have to be one of the first 15 callers today.
Okay, so that ad that you just saw, it's actually running right now for this client right now. This is real life stuff that we're running now. Also, let me share with you the audio radio version of this that they're running on radio.
This is Alec Burton, president of Jericho Home Improvements. Did you know November and December are actually the best months to remodel your kitchen or bathroom? Business slows down for us a bit due to the holidays, because let's face it, most people just aren't thinking about remodeling. But we do need to keep our employees busy, which is why we're offering free granite to anyone who books with us this month, and a $1,000 home goods gift card to the first 15 people who call. Don't worry, we can do the installation after the holidays. But to get free granite and a free home goods gift card, you have to be one of the first 15 callers today. This is a once-a-year opportunity to save big on your new kitchen or bathroom. It's a classic win-win. We get to keep our employees busy. You get free granite and a $1,000 home goods gift card to decorate your new kitchen or bath. So call Jericho now at 913-596-0000 or visit jerichohome.com.
Okay, so you get an idea for how that works. So I showed it to you in a newsprint version, then I showed you a TV version, then I showed you a radio version. And what I'm showing you on the screen right now is just suggestions of things that you could add into a mega irresistible offer. You could actually do a home goods gift card like you just heard in that one. You could use the destination motivation, condo, or cruise vouchers. I know several of you, particularly some of you that are bigger companies, are already using those, but that's an innovative way to use it in conjunction with that kind of offer. But you could also do things like give away Xboxes and TVs. But I'm going to hold that for just a minute because that's going to actually surface again here later as we get further into this webinar. So I'm going to take the TV and the Xbox, I'm going to push pause, and we're going to move forward. Okay, so let's go to strategy number 2. Strategy number 2 is pre-selling spring jobs. Now, this is an approach that is going to be particularly useful for exterior remodeling. It's going to let people know that you cannot do the job right now while it's cold, but you're going to give them incentives to lock in their project for the spring. So in other words, instead of just going off the air, whether it's TV or radio or Facebook or whatever the advertising medium is that you're utilizing, instead of just going off the air, knowing that if you advertise and give people an incentive to do something that they're going to say, it's Christmas, I don't really want to screw with that. We're going to try to push the job forward into the spring. The idea is to hit March with jobs already on the books, okay? Now, to make this work, I'm going to suggest that you limit the number of jobs like you saw earlier in the sunroom example where we said we're only going to be doing 15 per month, 30 total. Give some kind of a specific limit of the number of jobs. And then also same thing that I said earlier about making the discount real. What we're trying to do is get jobs on the book for March, but we're trying to get them on the books right now. Okay, so start filling that spring schedule right now. You can run this in any media you want: print, radio, TV, Facebook, etc. So I don't have an actual radio ad for you, but I do have a script for one. So let me roll this out for you. I'll read it. It says, it's freezing, so we can and won't install a new roof right now. By the way, this is a roofing company in Rhode Island, okay? They can't do jack squat for about 4 months up there. It's freezing, so we can and won't install a new roof right now, but your roof still needs to be replaced. That's why I'm offering you $2,000 to get on our spring schedule now. This is Sean, owner of Busy Beaver Roofing. Call me right now for a roof inspection. Yes, in the cold. Then if you need a replacement, we'll lock you in for your new roof installation in March, and you'll get a massive $2,000 discount. Look, I got to keep my staff busy in the winter, even though we can't install. So I'm giving you the best value of the year for letting us inspect it and book it right now. $2,000 off. Plus, every new roof comes with their famous puppy protocol. We pay to send your dog to the spa for the day of the install so they won't be scared by the pounding and nailing. That's a $500 value on top of the $2,000 discount, but you have to call now. This is limited to the first 10 jobs that book with us, no exceptions. Call Busy Beaver Roofing now at phone number or learn more at URL. So you can see this is kind of a hybrid of the first strategy, but we're trying to now take and push jobs into the spring. I'll give you another example, a radio ad. The reason I'm using radio ads is because I can simply read it and it sounds like a radio ad, okay? You could just as easily put this on a video, put this on Facebook, put this anywhere that you do your advertising, send it out in a mailer. It doesn't matter the medium, it matters the message. Here's the deal. You want to know, you know, you know you want to need new siding on your home, but it's the holidays. Who wants to mess with it? Can it even be installed in the winter? This is Tyler at Bald Guys Home Improvement, and I have a $3,000 solution for you. Lock in your new James Hardy siding project with us right now before Christmas, and we'll come install it in March when the weather clears. If you do that, we'll give you a real bona fide $3,000 discount on the job. Not a fake discount, not a biggest sale of the year discount, a real $3,000 discount. You win because, well, duh, you get a massive discount, but it helps us keep our people busy, and we start the spring with a full book of business. This $3,000 discount is strictly limited to the first 10 jobs at schedule between now and Christmas. When the spots are gone, they're gone, and you'll pay full price in the spring. Call Bald Guys Home Improvement now at number, or visit us at url.com and ask for the $3,000 Winter Hardy discount. Again, this is a hybrid of the first strategy, but we're trying to push jobs into the spring. Get them on the books. Get your sales guy out into the house. Do whatever you have to do to measure, whatever you have to do to get the job sold. Take a deposit, get them on financing, however the terms work, but you're trying to keep your people busy. Get them on the books. Start stacking your business for March right now if you can't actually install until then. Okay, so let's go into strategy number 3, which is focusing on past customers. Now, we're going to use a similar story approach, but we're going to go to your customers, people that you've done business with. We're going to do it via direct mail. Let them know that this offer is only for them, and then I'm going to have you make it into a check mailer, okay? You can make an amount that's proportionate to what they've already spent with you, or you can make it a fixed number if you want to. I learned this, like I mentioned earlier, from K Designers. I think the guy's name is Judson or something like that. It's been so long, I remember the guy's got a beard, but I don't remember his name. I think it was Judson. Anyway, amazing business person. And they swore to me up and down that they had, this is a very large company, even 15 years ago, they were well over 50 million in sales. And he said that they were able to add about $3 million in December sales by using this strategy. And I thought, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to take that. And so now I'm giving it to you, and you can take it. Offer's going to be for a limited time. Customers have to like you for this to work. In other words, if your customers think you suck, then guess what? They don't want to do business with you. So you might be thinking, why did you say that, Rich? Well, because I've actually done this before with some customers, with some clients of mine that didn't necessarily have the best reputation, and it didn't necessarily work that well. So this is what it looks like. This is sent out in a, what do you call it, a window envelope so that it looks like it's a check. You can see there at the top, Jericho Home Improvements dividend certificate, amount $3,417.33. It's important that it's some kind of weird oddball number because it looks like it has some kind of significance or meaning. Everything that you see in pink here is actually that just means that it's going to be custom printed by the mail house. So it's not actually going to be pink. It's actually going to have the customer's name on there. Okay, that's what the pink means. So I'm going to blow this up a little bit on the screen. This is the top part, and then I'll go to a second slide that'll show the second part. This was sent November 2023. We're actually sending this again this year. It'll be going out in the mail next week. Happy holidays from Jericho Home Improvements. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the trust that you've shown us in the past by allowing us to perform remodeling services for your family. Last year, we offered a dividend certificate to all of our previous valued customers. We've received very well. We've had several people reach out and inquire if we would be offering it again this year. We're pleased to announce that we are, and we've increased the amount this year to $3,417.33. The certificate may be redeemed by calling this number anytime between now and December 31. You may redeem the certificate towards the purchase of a kitchen or bathroom remodeling project, including kitchen refinishing totaling $14,900 or more. This is the bottom of the letter. If you completed all the remodeling work on your home, this dividend certificate is 100% transferable to a friend, neighbor, or relative. If you do pass this certificate on, and the family you refer decides to make a purchase from Jericho, we'll send you a $250 thank you Visa gift card. Remember, you or your referee, that's a weird word, must respond to this mailing between now and December 31st in order to redeem this dividend certificate. All of us at Jericho Home Improvement send our warmest wishes to you and your family for a wonderful holiday season, and a note of special thanks for trusting us to remodel your home. And then signed by the CEO. P.S. As always, a portion of sales are donated to Global Orphan Project. And then, of course, at the bottom, it says what they do. So this is a very good way to get repeat business, or maybe some business that they just didn't finish the first time around. Maybe they've got 2 or 3 bathrooms and they did 1 bathroom with you, boom, now they come in and do the second. Maybe they did a kitchen, now they're going to do the bathroom, or vice versa. Maybe with you it's siding and roofing or windows or whatever the thing is. We're trying to get additional business from our customers. Now, the only exception to this might be roofing. If you sold them a brand new roof, they probably don't need another brand new roof, so you may need to find a different strategy, okay? We can also do a different version of this that's more in line with the first promotion that I showed you today. You can see here, this is not a check mailer, a special customer only Christmas offer, full 20% off any home improvement project plus 2 free gifts worth $15.60. I won't spend the time to read this one, but here's what I want you to understand. This is the same strategy that we showed you with the sunroom company, also with the TV commercial and the radio commercial and the radio ads that I showed you, but we're sending it now to the customers in the form of a letter. And this also can be very well received, again, assuming that your customers actually like you. All right, let's move on. Again, I've said this 3 times, I'll say it one more time. All of this will be available on YouTube a little bit later today. So if you want to pause the video and look at that a little more carefully, you'll be able to get the exact wording if you want to, okay? Strategy number 4, making your product a giftable item. The idea here is that you position the home improvement project as something to be given as a Christmas gift. Okay, what's that all about? Well, it's gonna work better for things that are actually fun. Things like sunrooms, pools, kitchens, bath remodels, things, I've heard the phrase before, grudge purchase, like an HVAC, or maybe, replacement windows, like, crap, I got to get this done. I don't really want to. It's kind of a grudge purchase. This is going to tend to work better for things that are more fun to get, and you can actually put it under the tree. It's going to be less fun for siding, windows, gutter protection. But hey, I'm not saying that it's out of the question. If somebody needs this stuff, then you can let them kill the proverbial 2 birds with 1 stone by giving their significant other this home remodeling project for Christmas, okay? And it's gonna work best if you can take something and wrap it and put it under the tree. So this gives you an idea of what this looks like from a print ad standpoint. Treat yourself to a sunroom this Christmas, you deserve it. A swimming pool for Christmas, your family's gonna love it. And then you can actually wrap this and put it under the tree. Let me show you a radio ad to give you an idea of what this would sound like on the radio. Now, this is actually kind of a funny radio ad, so you can take that with a grain of salt, but it gives you an idea of how this works. So let me play this for you.
Do you remember what you got your wife for Christmas last year? Of course you don't. And what's worse, she doesn't remember either. That's because you are a bad gift giver. Did you really think she needed another candle in a jar or cheese log from the sausage shack? Of course not. Use your noggin, my friend.
Whoops.
This year, give her the one thing that 100% of all women do want, guaranteed. A brand new kitchen or a brand new bathroom. You know you need to remodel anyway, so why not kill the proverbial 2 birds with 1 stone? Nordine Remodeling is on standby to make you the best gift giver since Santa Claus himself. Discuss your project now. Surprise her with a wrapped gift box of tile and counter samples under the tree, and start construction after the new year. And trust me when I say she'll be thanking you long into the new year. Just call Nordine Remodeling today at 888-4662 or go online to nordineremodeling.com.
Okay, I think you get the idea of how that works. What we're doing is we're positioning what you sell as something that is gift worthy. I mean, you just need to take a little human psychology to understand how this works and why this works. Because if you're a dude and your wife has been bugging you to get the kitchen or bathroom remodeled, or add the sunroom or the swimming pool or whatever the thing is, and you can make this a Christmas gift so that you don't have to just randomly buy it later. So now I don't have to give the Christmas gift and the remodeling project. It just works. Okay, and you can make this a wrappable gift. You can either give some kind of a book or a little toy that is the thing, sunroom in this case. Here's a book about kitchen ideas that work, or you could give some granite samples, wrap that under the tree. I know there's some logistic challenges to work this out, but look, all you got to do is get somebody in there and say, look, you don't have to you don't have to make all the decisions on this. We don't have to design the kitchen. All you have to do is give us a deposit on this, and we'll come in. We'll give you the book. We'll give you the granite samples. You wrap it under the tree, and then after the holidays, come in with your wife, and we'll work out all the details, and she'll be getting a new kitchen. Wrap it, put it under the tree. Okay. Now, this is a similar strategy. So I'm calling this strategy 4A, which is buying their Christmas gifts. What you do is you create a bonus that's a gift card to a popular store, something like Best Buy or Target or Walmart or Amazon.com. It could be anything, Home Goods, as you've already seen. And you make it an amount that's really going to catch their attention. I would say a minimum of $250, but $1,000, $2,000. And what you do is you convince people that if they're going to do a project anyway, they might as well also get their Christmas gifts for free. So you could write an ad. Again, this could be on radio, it could be on TV, it could be on Facebook, you could put it on TikTok, wherever you want to put it. You can put it in their mailbox, but it would basically say, hey, if you thought about remodeling your kitchen but decided to put it off until the holidays, that's a bad idea, because Custom Kitchen Remodelers wants to pay for all of your Christmas gifts this year. And then you go on to explain that you're going to give them this gift card. How'd you like to get all of your Christmas gifts for free this year? Custom Kitchen Remodelers wants to give you $2,000 to buy all your Christmas gifts, or maybe $1,000 Amazon gift card. So the idea here is this is a bonus. So you're gonna have to work this out with your margins, because you're gonna be giving them a real $1,000 or $2,000 gift card. That's gonna be real money that's coming out of your pocket. So your prices are going to have to adjust accordingly to make that work. But the idea is, it's Christmas, book the job with us now. We're gonna give you this gift card for $1,000, $2,000. You can use it to spend it on Christmas gifts, and then in the new year, we'll go ahead and do that project. Okay, that's the idea here. It's strategy 4A, buying their Christmas gifts for them. All right, let's move on to strategy number 5. We've done 4 of the 6 strategies. We're gonna move on to strategy number 5, which is baking while others freeze. And I've got the visual here of putting the pie in the oven. Just because people are busy with the holidays doesn't mean that they aren't still interested in home improvements. They are, they've just got other things on their mind. So there's an opportunity to capture now buyers and also to influence future buyers. So let's talk about the now buyers first of all. And I want to talk specifically about pay-per-click advertising, Google AdWords. Okay, pay-per-click is, look, this is not something you don't know. Pay-per-click is high intent searchers. These are people that are looking because they're interested in the thing. So if you're only going to be charged when people actually click, the risk is going to be low. So don't assume that, hey, nobody's looking for this stuff, because some people are. Let's say that the search volume for replacement windows or James Hardy siding or whatever the heck it is that you're selling is only 50% during November or 50% during December, something like that. I just made those numbers up, but just to give you an easy numbers example. Well, so what? Make sure that you hit all of those people. So what you want to do, think about how pay-per-click normally works. Let's say that you've got a $5,000 budget for pay-per-click. During the whole rest of the year, you're competing against 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 other of your competitors who are all trying to get the bids in, and you're trying to make sure that you show up. So your visibility is going to be, relatively speaking, low because you've got so many competitors. It's what makes pay-per-click so hard. It's the sheer quantity of competitors that you're going up against. During the winter months, you've got fewer competitors. So now, even though there's fewer people searching, let's say, if you keep your budget high and you keep the pedal to the metal, you will be able to have a larger amount of visibility with the people who are searching. So run the algebra on that. I'm going to just make up numbers. Let's say that during normal months, during the not winter months, let's say that there's 1,000 people a month searching, but you're only reaching 200 of them in terms of visibility because your competitors are also bidding, and it's very difficult to show up all the time. But now, during the winter months, there's only 500 people searching instead of 1,000, but you keep your budget up and you now get 50% visibility. So you actually are getting 50% of 250 in this hypothetical example, which is 250 people seeing your ad, which is actually more than you're getting during other times of the year. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Keep the pedal to the metal. Because you're only being charged when people click, the risk is low. You might want to be willing to facilitate research. People may not still be willing to buy right now So you may want to have some sort of a buyer's guide, consumer's guide to remodeling your kitchen, something like that. Things I've talked about on other webinars and podcasts. But keep your spend full and get as many of the people that you possibly can while your competitors are sitting on the sidelines because it's winter time. Keep it full. Now, strategy 5B, this is getting into a different level, okay? This is not necessarily for everybody because this is going to scare off some of the folks that are maybe a little bit smaller, that have more finite budgets. But I want you to pay attention and see what you can do with this anyway. What I want you to think about is this: from March to October, during quote unquote the good months, I want you to escrow 5% of your marketing budget. Okay. And what you're going to do is then spend that money from November to February when demand is low. And you're thinking, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Rich. Why would I want to spend when demand is low? And the answer is because people still exist during the off months. They're still paying attention, even if they're not making as many decisions. And it gives you a chance in a less cluttered environment to get your message out there. So here's an example. Just an example. Let's say that your March to October spend is $100,000 per month, escrow 5,000 of it. That's $40,000. Then from November to February, let's say that you cut your budget from 100,000 to 50,000 because you're cutting your budget per, it's winter time and we're not spending as much. Well, now you have an extra $10,000 per month. So you got 60,000 to spend. What I'm going to recommend is using this budget on the previous strategies, like the stacked offers and the Christmas gifts, the mega irresistible offer, so to speak. Or here's something you can do: blast your identity out there when all your competitors are sleeping. And because it's less cluttered, you're going to be more noticed. Now, if you can use TV and radio if you want to get broad coverage. This is going to be good for smaller markets. Smaller markets are going to be somewhere probably number 75 in the United States and lower. But if you're in one of the bigger markets, then you're going to probably want to come in with OTT and Facebook so that you can laser focus on specific areas. So you want a high repetition in a relatively small subset of your geography. Again, if you're in a smaller geographic area like Bloomington, Illinois, well, then you can just go out and hit radio and TV and you can just hit everybody. But if you're in a bigger market, like most of you probably are, I know some of you aren't, but the vast majority tend to be. If you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, or if you're in Salt Lake City, if you're in Chicago or Los Angeles or Denver, then just take your top 10 zip codes and just blast in there and really get these folks ready to buy from you when the season changes, okay? Make sure that the ads get attention. Make sure that the ads are identity based. So I'll give you a couple of examples of this. These are just good identity based ads. Whoops, that was supposed to be playing.
One of the most common questions we get about kitchen and bathroom remodeling is how much does it cost? But the question you should be asking is how much does it weigh? How much does it weigh? You can tell a lot about the quality of the kitchen or bathroom by how much the faucet weighs. At Jericho, we only use high quality Moen faucets. They weigh about 10 pounds each. They're solid metal, they look fantastic, and they'll last forever. Other remodelers save money by using off-brand plastic faucets that only weigh about 1.5 pounds. 10 pounds versus 1.5 pounds. If you want a remodeling job that weighs right, call Jericho. Find us online at Jericho Home.
Okay, I'll just pop through a couple of these. We won't listen to them all.
Thinking about a new deck? Then you need to know about deposit hopping. Nick here from Hutcherson Construction, and here's how it works. Most contractors require a 50% deposit when you sign the contract, up front, on the spot, which they use to pay for labor and materials for other jobs that they're already working on. When it comes time to build your deck later, they'll try and collect another deposit from somebody else to pay for the labor and materials on your job. It's called deposit hopping, and it puts you at risk because they're flying by the seat of their financial pants. At Hutcherson, we never ask for a deposit. You never pay anything until the first day of the job, after the materials have been delivered to your property and the crew is on site, ready to start. For a beautiful deck with no financial risk, call 269.
Okay, you get an idea here. I'm not going to walk through these. I've done plenty of webinars and podcasts where I've talked about identity-based advertising, having a message that's interesting, that interrupts and engages people, has an offer on it, and gets people to take notice. What I'm talking about is not being afraid to spend some money during the less busy seasons in an effort to stand out from the crowd who is back home packing it in and now in a less cluttered environment, your message has a chance to stand out. If it's identity oriented, if you've got a great message, if it's interesting and engaging, then I'm going to highly recommend this. You don't have to completely go off the air. If you want to bring it down a little bit, that's okay, but keep it going.
Lots of companies say they guarantee you satisfaction, but at Solid State Construction, we've upped the ante. It's our love it or light it promise. If you're not thrilled with our products or services, you don't pay your final invoice. You incinerate it, burn it, light it up. I'll even let you use my flamethrower. It's our love it or light it promise. Only at Solid State Construction. Go to solidstateconstruction.com.
Okay, so you get an idea here. Let me be very specific what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about running ads in such a way that you can get a relatively high frequency, which means that the average person who's watching is or listening, depending on the case, is going to see or hear this ad multiple times, and it's going to start to sink in. So let me give you an example for OTT. OTT is digital TV advertising. Let's say that you're in the San Diego area, but you don't have enough budget because it's off season. So you want to identify out of 30 zip codes, you identify 10 that are the best for you. So what we could do is we could go in and fashion a campaign during November and December, perhaps January. And you could do this also, you know, with the roofing company up in Rhode Island where it's legitimately cold and you can't do business. And you can just pick the 10 zip codes or the 5 zip codes that you really want to go into. And instead of getting a 7 or an 8 frequency over the course of a month, you can bump it up to a 10 or a 12 or even a 15, so that the average person who's seeing these ads is like, holy crap, those guys at Solid State, I keep seeing them everywhere. And then when the time comes, you've got mind share. This is an investment. This is something that you have to be really mentally ready to roll with. Okay. Now, I'm going to wrap up with number 6 here in just a minute. I'm going to talk about sharpening the saw. So hang on. We've got about 10 minutes to go. I don't want you to jump off the webinar. I know that we're getting kind of towards the end of the hour. I do want to tell you about these last 2 sponsors real quick. And I'm going to launch a poll. And I'm going to tell you about Demand IQ and Leap. Demand IQ, here's what you need to know. It's the instant estimate revolution. Most contractors are bleeding leads. They don't even know it because their websites say, fill out this form and we'll get back to you. That's 2009 behavior. Demand IQ is 2025 behavior. It turns your website into a self-serve buying experience. Homeowners answer a few questions, boom, they get an instant estimate right there on your site, right then. No waiting, no chasing, just ready to buy leads, drop straight into your CRM. It's a no-code platform. They call it Journeys. It makes it stupid easy, excuse me, to build and launch interactive quoting funnels. Contractors who are using this are seeing 2 to 3x more leads and 20 to 30% higher close ratio. So check that out, Demand IQ. Just Google it, Demand IQ. And then Leap. Losing my voice here. Leap is an all-in-one platform specifically built for roofers, remodelers, home service contractors who are done juggling spreadsheets, disconnected apps. Leap brings your entire process together, from lead capture and estimates to contract scheduling, payments, all under one roof. With Leap CRM, you can create customized workflows that fit how you already do business. The system includes dynamic proposals, precise cost estimates based on labor and materials, real-time management, real-time job management, customer and subcontractor portals, and a ton of other stuff. Integrates with QuickBooks, EagleView, Angie, GreenSky, things like that. Simply put, Leap helps you eliminate contractor chaos. It tightens operations, closes deals faster. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, just indicate so on the poll, and the folks at Leap will reach out to you with more information. All right, thanks for that. Let's go into the home stretch here. And I want to talk about strategy number 6, which is sharpening the marketing saw. You're familiar with Stephen Covey and the 7 habits of highly effective people. He talks about sharpening the saw. That's what I'm talking about here. Specifically, I want to talk about using this time over the next 4 months to get ready and better for 2026. Here's the top priorities. Number 1, tackling your new website and SEO project. Tackling your new website and SEO project. It takes time to get a new website launched. I encourage you to start now. I'll talk about that in just a second. And then developing your identity in a meaningful way. and along with that, integrating what I call the 4 I's into your marketing. So to help you understand this website part of this, 27 is the number that we see as the average score on website audits that we do on behalf of contractors like you. We put it together. You can see it looks like this. The overall score on this particular one is 16, which is pretty pathetic. That's out of 100, by the way. And here's what this means. This means that your website is massively underperforming. The average score that we see is 27. I want you to understand what that means. That means that for every contractor I talk about, the average score out of 100 is 27, which means that their website is not delivering visitors, is not delivering organic leads, is not converting the traffic that you do get. It's not working. And in most cases, you don't even realize it. That's why you need a website audit from Level 10 Contractor. I'm going to give you a QR code here in just a minute that you can request a website audit. If it turns out that you do have problems with your website, we'll identify and pinpoint exactly where they are, and we'll show you how to fix those. We have a lot of things happening right now in our website and SEO department where we're actually selling websites at half price with SEO services for 2 years. It's an amazing offer. We've never done it before, but you have to get the website audit to make that happen. But this is something that you need to be working on in the off season. You don't want to get into the busy season and say, oh crap, we need to get our website handled. You need to be working on that now. Your SEO is going to be a driver of leads for years to come, but you've got to get those pages built. You've got to get the troops in the battle. You've got to be able to drive traffic to your website. And that's something that you need to start sooner rather than later. The other thing I want you to focus on is the 4 I's: identity, integration, iteration, and investment. This is a webinar that I did a month ago. You can look this up on YouTube. I'll also put it in the email that we'll send out as a follow-up for this one today. This is very, very important stuff. What I'm talking about is making sure that your business has a solid identity so that people understand who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what they can expect when they do business with you. Integration, making sure that all of the parts of your marketing are working together, whether it's your radio and television, your pay-per-click, your Facebook advertising, your direct mail, your website, your SEO, making sure that all of the departments that are working on your marketing are singing from the same hymn book. You don't want to have one random campaign running on Facebook and then another random campaign running on radio and a third random campaign running on television. You need your agencies and your silos to be working together, learning and getting smarter and better, taking best practices and things that work and integrating it into other elements of your marketing. This is how you grow smart over time instead of having a Frankenstein disconnected marketing system, which honestly is what we see in almost every company we do business with, no matter how big they are. Yes, I'm talking to you, 20, 50, $100 million company. Iteration is the idea that you're going to rapidly iterate testing both advertisements and landing pages so that you can find the things that work. If you're running pay-per-click campaigns without at least 8 different ads and landing pages per month, you're doing it wrong. Same thing goes for pay-per-click, Facebook, your radio, television. Again, it's the same things over and over, but you've got to be iterating it. And then also from an investment standpoint, looking at getting into some farming type activities where you're building yourself a future lead flow based on things that are not necessarily direct response, okay? So the challenge for the 4 I's, you'll see this if you watch this webinar, is look at where you're strong, where you're exposed, work through your identity. I know I'm going through this very quickly right now. Thanks for staying with me this long. Auditing your vendors and your agencies. Are they singing from the same hymn book? And then allocating budget into farming. So what I want to offer you at the end of this webinar today as a thank you for participating, and also to help you make a 2026 that's going to be better and more profitable, is an marketing ROI blueprint. It's a personal consultation to turn your marketing into a compounding growth machine. Discover how to create your company's identity, integrate and iterate, like I said, plan for allocating investment, how Level 10 can help you with those goals. So here's what I want you to do is take out your phone and hit the QR code here. It'll ask you to set a time. You'll talk to Ryan Hill. He's our senior strategist who will go through all of these things with you. And if you'd like to get the website audit that I talked about a few minutes ago, this is how you get that as well. It's automatically included with your ROI blueprint call. We'll do an audit on your website. We'll show you where it's strong. And even if you only want to talk about your website, this is still the right way to take the next step. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open this call up to you to ask any questions that you have about anything that we've talked about today. You can do that through the dashboard. Just go to your questions, ask them, and I will answer them. And I'll do that starting right now. While we're waiting for people to ask questions, it always takes a minute for some reason. I will encourage you to go ahead and schedule an ROI blueprint call. We're going to work through your current marketing. Who's doing the various things for you? Are they singing from the same hymn book? Are you iterating rapidly? What does your identity look like? If nothing else, this will be a good way to help you understand who you are, how you're different, why you're better, and communicate that with power, precision, and passion. Okay, I don't see any new questions in here. I'm not sure why not. Maybe I need to go to the chat. Nope. Anyone? I must have covered this so thoroughly that nobody has any questions. Okay, here's a question. Rich, what are your thoughts with newspaper today, especially with all of the digital stuff? The answer is, I feel the same about newspaper as I've always felt about newspaper, which is, depending on what the cost is, it can be effective. You're going to reach a bunch of boomers, which is good for most of you. And if you can do some testing in the newspaper to get a good cost per lead or good cost per sale, then go for it. Also, some newspapers are willing to negotiate either cost per lead or profit sharing deals. It's not everybody, but it is some. So you might want to take a look at that as well. Thanks for that question, John. Next question. For the offer, does your relationship with the vendors for gift certificates make them free of charge for you guys, or are you purchasing them? We're actually purchasing those. But look, you can work out any kind of deal that you want with those guys. You can go and say, look, I'm going to send you this customer, so I want the $500 certificate for $250 or whatever. You understand what their margins are. It's going to be a foot in the door for them to get a new customer. So very likely you can get those at a discount. Thanks for that question, Drew. All right, next question. How is your team evolving with SEO strategy with AI taking a share of the visibility from websites like Google? By the way, that was Alyssa on the last question, sorry, and this is Drew. Thanks for the question, Drew. AI is a major part of all the SEO that we're doing now, but here's what you need to understand about AI. AI is pulling its information the exact same way that the search engines are. In other words, it has to index everything that's on the internet, and it's going to be pulling that. So the underlying foundational strategies for SEO are largely the same as they are for search engine optimization, because you've got to create geo keyword optimized pages to allow the search engine or the AI engine, depending on the situation, to know what it is that you do and where it is that you do it. Now, there are specific tactics that are going to be useful with AI. A lot of things that are going to be more question and answer oriented. There's some specific ways that it needs to be marked up that are going to fall more into the nerd coding category. But for the most part, the underlying foundation is the same. But you're right, it's a good question, Drew. There absolutely are AI-oriented things that we're doing to make sure that you show up. And look, any SEO agency that you work with has got to be right on top of the forefront of the AI revolution. If they're not, then you're obviously going to fall behind. But I do want you to hear me loud and clear and understand this. The foundation of how it works is essentially the same. Again, you've got to put troops in the battles. You've got to let the search engine or the AI engine know who it is that you are, what you do, where you do it, and then, you know, that's going to be your foundation. All right, I think my voice is about shot, which is good, because I think we're about out of questions. Yep, I think we're about out of questions. So we're going to go ahead and end up there. Thanks so much for your time today, guys. Appreciate it. And we will be posting this on YouTube a little bit later today. Bye now.